What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we are going to be pulling the engine on this in anticipation to do a turbo build on it. This is Artie's coupe. This is Artie. You want to tell them your plans with this thing?
Yeah, so right now this is a 2.7 liter ETA bottom end with a 885 head off of a 325i. So it's a little bit of a mix up of a couple of motors, but I'm going to be pulling the motor out, re-gasket everything, go ahead and put ARP studs in it, then just turbo it as it is. Kind of still deciding on which one of these turbos we're going to go with. More than likely I'm going with a little bit smaller one for the time being. I don't think I'm quite going to need the power out of the bigger one to go to it just yet. But currently we're pulling the core support out of the front of it. It gives full access to the front of the motor, let everything pull out super easy, and just opens up everything to be able to clean and route all the wiring and charge piping as we need.
Yeah, so we're gonna put this on a time lapse. We'll probably pull the core support first off camera and then set up the time lapse of doing everything underneath to get it disconnected, exhaust, drive shaft, transmission stuff. And then we will work on pulling this thing out, and you guys will see that on the time lapse. All right, before we go on the time lapse, thought I'd update y'all. We got the core support off. We ended up drilling the spot welds and then cutting right here on the frame rails. And then this should just allow the engine to slide right out. Should be pretty easy, but you guys will see it on the time lapse. And the engine is out. As you saw in the time lapse, we just pulled it straight out the front. Gave us a lot of room to get things out of the way, harness, and just slid right out. So yeah, now we'll probably take the transmission off, clutch, all of that, and then get this engine torn down and re-gasketed and eventually get it back in the car. All right, so now that we got Artie's engine out of his car, he is going to tear that down, or start tearing it down, and then I am going to start tearing down this a little bit more. I haven't really talked about my plans with my car yet. Basically, the engine that I pulled from the coupe over there, not gonna work. The head was messed up, and then the blocks, this block's not ideal to use. So I'm going to pull some parts off. I'm going to pull this oil distribution off, and then this wheel for the crank sensor, and then I'm going to end up using this block that I originally pulled from the engine. Like I said, I'm going to use this block and Artie's head that he has, his spare head, and we will get that going. But I will use the transmission from this coupe, put it on that block. We're not using any of the parts from, or we're not using the block from the coupe. We're just using the transmission and some of the timing stuff. I'll pull the oil pan off of it as well. And then I will probably put this block back into that car, just so it's out of the way. And then eventually pull this ETA bottom end out and put it on this stand in anticipation of getting it built. All right, so I guess it's a blessing in disguise I didn't use this engine. There's quite a bit of junk in the oil pickup. That's a piece of rubber and some leaves. And then you can see in there the pickup screen. It's all gross looking, but I pulled all my parts I need off of this off. I think I'm gonna just throw this back in the coupe, throw the head back on it, throw it back in the coupe, and then start getting to work on tearing down my engine. I'll probably put it on a stand and this stand, and start tearing that down as well, and then regasket everything, throw the new head on it and the new transmission, and then, you know, there we go. All right, so that's probably going to do it for this episode. In this episode, we pulled Artie's engine. We got that completely out, transmission off, and halfway torn down. He's going to end up regasketing the whole thing. And I got the pieces I needed off of this engine, and then I threw it back in the car. It'll probably end up going to scrap like this. There's no salvageable parts. The block's less than desirable, and the head was messed up, as you saw in one of my past videos. I think someone is going to come get these, the windshield, and then the rear subframe is probably going to be dropped, and then it'll probably go to the junkyard. There's not really much greatness with this car. There's a lot of not really anything of value. So I think we're done with this shell. We can get that prepped and get it sent off to scrap. And then probably in the next video, I'll pull out this ETA engine and get it on a stand so we can start tearing that down. and start hodgepodging all the parts together to put it back into my car. Hopefully I can find a harness that will work and we can get started on getting ready to get this to drive. That's really all I wanted from this thing. I just want it to drive. That's it. So got a bunch of wiring to figure out, but that should do it for today. I'm just gonna clean up a little bit. The shop's kind of a mess from us pulling Artie's engine and tearing a couple engines down. I'm gonna try to figure out where to store these transmissions. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one where we break down my original ETA engine that was in my car and get it ready to get put back in. See ya.